Welcome to the Old Souls and Seekers podcast, a podcast that transcends the typical personal development journey. You're not new to this. You've read the books, attended the seminars, and perhaps even tried various coaching programs, yet something still feels amiss. Elon and Guy have over 2 decades of relentless searching and $1 million invested in their personal growth quest. Here's the revelation. You're not missing anything. You're not even behind. You might have just been searching in the wrong places. In each episode, we'll uncover the most effective, straightforward practices that have profoundly impacted our lives and the tens of thousands of our clients from all over the world. This is about real, sustainable results for those dedicated to their personal and spiritual growth. So get ready to explore and enjoy the show.
How's everyone doing?
Isn't it amazing how life, no matter what, like I was actually just listening to this Buddhist, I don't know who he was, but he was talking about letting
I
go.
just listen to some Buddhist.
He was talking about letting go, and he was just doing this little thing, and he was talking about how one of the most difficult and highest level practices for any human is to let go. And when people hear the word letting go, they think of
Giving up.
letting go of an object or a person or a job or a house. But he was saying that letting go has nothing to do with that. It actually has to do with the attachment, the emotional attachment that we have to things. And it was just reminding me so much of this work and, surrendering to what is and all that stuff that we will all be doing till the day we breathe our last breath here and just keep trying to get better and better and better at it. Like,
Just keep swimming.
it doesn't
Just
matter.
keep swimming.
I mean,
Just keep
like, dude,
swimming.
I was just talking to Shelly back and forth about she's coming to Columbia now, and her friend wanted to come with us, and she's, get this, a US citizen, and she's afraid to leave the country because she's afraid of being detained to come back into the country. And I was just like, wait, but you're a US citizen. She's like, yeah, but born Armenian, lived in Iran, like, and I was like, this is, like I say this all the time, but I am perplexed, truthfully perplexed at how people are living in today's world without this,
Assistance. Yeah.
any kind of like personal development. I'm not saying like just what we do. To me, this is like, you know, more palpable and powerful, but like how are fucking people surviving with everything that's happening without having something to regulate their nervous system?
Yeah.
I'm just like, are people just like drugging and drinking themselves into stupors like 80% of the time? I just, how are people functioning?
I don't know.
If think about this, like, are you guys, and I see many of your faces here, like, is by a show of hands, is everyone dealing with something in their lives right now? Like, there's an intense thing. Look around. Yeah, like, and how do you guys at least feel, those I know that have done, because I see many of you who are in like level 2 and level 3 and things like that. Um, but do you guys feel like those that have been doing this work, like you have an increased greater capacity to dance with the insanity of life right now? Like by a show of hands, how many of you guys feel like you've definitely increased that capacity? Can you imagine do think of what you're being with right now in life and go back 3, 4 years. Like, how would you have handled this situation? I'm in awe. I see people around and I'm just like, how are you doing this?
I want to give it up to the fortitude and resilience of the human species and spirit, for all the things that these beings have had to come through in millions of years to figure out how to continue this thing called life. Right. And so I just want to give it up for how we've been able to do that. Nonetheless, yeah, I agree with you. I think about that a lot. For me, like I don't think I would be in my physical body anymore. Like, because to me, it's like an endless state of pressurization, right? And it's like when you can't find the release valve, like I don't know, my psychology doesn't work well when I'm upset. When I'm dysregulated, I can't connect with people. I can't think about problems beyond what I'm facing, and it's just it's a challenging enclosure to be in, no doubt. Um, yeah, I don't know. Everyone
And
just
and
different experiences.
and we all know it's all right. It's the energy. It's not the action. It's the energy behind the action. So like imagine being in a constant state of fear, worry, upset, frustration, sadness, terror, blah 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 blah, and then you're making every choice from that energy, which basically perpetuates the cycle of being in that with no end in sight. Like I'm in awe of honestly, there's so many times throughout the day where I'm like, I hear someone share a story, or I'm going through something in my own life, or I'm watching my kids go through something or whatever. And all I do, I like have these moments where it's like the deepest bow to whatever my soul did in order to be blessed with this level of practices and knowing and understanding that I can lean on something in these moments. Yeah, I just thank God for being where I am. I truly I feel so sad that there's so many humans and young people struggling so bad right now. Um, yeah, just really, really sad. Um,
To make a turn, take us somewhere nice.
yeah, let's go somewhere nice. So by the way, how many of you guys are aware that there is a live event this weekend? Yes. And those that are
Nice.
aware, are you able to make it? Okay,
Cool.
awesome.
Our
Some yes,
system
some
has
no.
been set up to annoy you. We have turned up the dial to annoy, just so you know. So, like, if you're getting a lot of emails and text messages, you're welcome. Because like I go to my inbox every day and I think to myself, look at this graveyard. Look at this graveyard of where messages go to die. So because I get so many messages from so many people in so many different ways, not necessarily like just people in the community, but so many emails, I just can't keep up with stuff. So I know how difficult it is to like get a message through to somebody. So we're doing what we can. Sorry if it's annoying. It's really just because we want to make sure that stuff are coming. And we still get emails from people that are like, I haven't gotten a thing. We're like, wow, like there's 75 messages that have gone out. So
We literally send carrier pigeons now.
yeah.
We're sending smoke
We got a
signals.
smoke guy. Yeah, he just does a smoke thing.
Yeah, it's
He's
amazing.
yeah.
We've really gone through all the bases.
We're thinking about etching stuff on the moon. I mean, like whatever we can get out there, we're gonna do it. Yeah. So some of you guys are new and you're like, what is this conversation?
That's
So
great. That's great.
yeah,
This is welcome to
we're
our
welcome
world of
to yeah, go ahead.
who's new?
I'll
Who's
let you
brand
take
new?
a
This is
turn.
like your first time on a call with us.
Hey Sherry.
Hi, Sherry.
Hassan, it's so good to see your face. It's been a
You
minute.
too. Yeah, Hassan. It's been a bit. I hope it's been fruitful. The insanity. Yeah, sometimes yes, sometimes no. Well, Sherry, welcome. Hassan, good to see your face. Others, I get to see your face more often. Lely, also I feel like new. Yeah.
I think
Io
Twitch.
Lele.
Yo, yeah. Oh, you have the same thing that my name does. Damn you, capital I, looking like an L. Um,
Nothing
well,
AI can't
welcome.
fix, Elon. I think in the age of AI, my wife was complaining about, Ferdmans are synonymous with snoring, and as we get older, it gets worse. Like
Oh, we just had this whole conversation
the
in my
bear
house.
gets bigger. So I told her, I'm like, AI will fix this. There's a mask coming that every time I snore, it's gonna be like, I love you,
I
Mandy.
know.
I
That's all
love
I
you,
want.
Mandy. It's gonna just translate it into love, right? So anyway, patent pending on that one. Please don't steal
It's
my
so funny.
idea.
God, we were literally having because Maya was here,
Yeah.
and like grandparents and whatnot. So we were having these whole conversations about the Ferdmans. Well, in any event, welcome for those of you that are here for the first time. Super excited to have you guys here. As you can see, uh, many people come to these Tuesday tune-ups, even though they're in level two and level three and level four. Um, and the idea of the Tuesday tune-up, we'll talk about a little bit, for those of you who are starting out, what you can and what we recommend you do when you kind of first get into here. And I will tell both of you, if you are able to make it to the live event this weekend, it is quite possibly the best way to dive into the deep end, quote unquote, and really feel what this work and more importantly, what this community is all about. Because if there's one thing that Guy and I want to change in the world is the notion that personal development is not meant to be personal. It's a team sport. And I imagine that all of us, most of us before we found this community, myself included,
Mhm.
treated it like a one-man sport. And healing does not happen in a vacuum. It just does not. We need each other. And we've always needed each other, but we have lost our way tremendously. And hopefully we get to bring that back here through this incredible community. And I don't think the guy and I ever imagined in our wildest dreams that we would have a community that is like, it almost feels like it's its own entity. It's got a mind, heart, beat of its own that is so beautiful. And there are people that you will meet here if you choose to stick around for a while that will be lifelong best friends. You'll probably find like soul people that you can connect with and continue to do these practices. So very exciting. And yeah, just if you're starting out, obviously you came in through the NSRP protocol. So step one, absolutely go through that. It's 90 minutes. And if you can do that before the live event, that would be give you a really good like foundation of what we're gonna go over and cover. So that would be step one. If you were smart enough to get the meditations with it, then my recommendation is always at least do one meditation a day. It doesn't matter morning, afternoon, night. People tell us that sometimes they do it before night and they track way better sleep. So do with that what you will, but absolutely do them in sequence and go through those. And then, the next step from there is really, like I said, watching videos, as good as it is, and as much as we try to give it to you, this work is on the court and in the experience. So it doesn't matter how much we talk. We can talk here till we're literally blue in the face and do 48-hour live streams. But that doesn't make any difference. Like actually doing the practices and getting into connections and doing minis. Like how many of you guys are doing at the minimum, just by a show of hands, a minimum of 3 minis every single week? Yeah. That's baseline. And I know some people like there's some people that like I usually do six or so a week. But there's some people that are doing like 20. I'm like, wow, good for you. Just blowing me out of the water. But whatever that is for you, right? Like at the minimum, if you really want to feel the impact of this work, it's not about you acquiring more information or another protocol or another four-step bullshit process. Like it's not. It's getting into connection with other. Because the wounding that every single human that I know has is we have this version of I can't trust that someone will actually be there for me. How many of you guys, when I say that, you recognize like there's some version of like, yeah, but will you really be there for me? It's like one of those things. And so that's what minis are so good at. Like in the beginning, that's why they're so uncomfortable for some people, because you sit there and what you're present to is the numbness. You're present to the walls that we've put in front to stop ourselves from having that connection with other. But if you want healing and you're not willing to sit with and presence the things that we've put in our way to be in connection with other, then you kind of got no shot at this.
Do you want to say a little bit more about why versus just kind of giving them the mental invitation, like what actually,
Go for it.
what's going on over there?
Go for
Yeah,
it.
so I mean, obviously a lot of you guys are doing the practice, you experience it firsthand, but for Sherry and anybody else who's brand new, if you haven't heard of co-regulation, this is not like a woo-woo thing Elon and I made up. It's just part of a, I don't want to call it a complete map because I don't think we have the complete map either, but it's part of a series of very subtle things that you can be doing every day in your life. And if you've ever just tried to sit with an emotion or a mental state, how many guys, when you try to do that, you have the sense of like you're looping on it, right? You wake up in the middle of the night thinking about it. It pops into your consciousness over and over and over again. And so at its most basic, our body at all times, its primary focus is to find safety. Yeah, I'm kind of generalizing this a little bit, but it's always trying to get to this kind of baseline of feeling safe. Another way of saying that is being grounded, feeling resourced, okay? And ironically, all these things are extraordinarily possible when you begin to sit in presence with another human being. Okay. Now, I know if you haven't done it yet, you're probably thinking to yourself, why would somebody sitting there watching me have any impact on my mood or my state or anything else like that? Well, mostly we have tried to do this with people in our lives that are not trained to attune to us, or we try to do it with a parent or a friend perhaps, and maybe it works to some benefit, like if you sit with a friend and you're not just committed to complaining but you want to like kind of like get something off your chest, there is a sense of feeling better at the end of that, right? But at the deeper level, communication is just at least in my eyes, is one of the ways that human beings connect. But ultimately, what seems to be most important to us is the way that we feel around a person. Like, how many of you guys have just met somebody, it's like your first meeting with them, you're like, I like this person,
Hmm.
right? Like they make me feel great. They make me feel like I'm home or something like that. And I'm at the age now, I'll be 42 here in like two-ish weeks or so. I'm at the age where like I really appreciate those chance meetings with people because I realize they're far and few between in life now. Like meeting a great friend to me these days is like meeting your wife or like meeting a lover. It's not around every corner. You don't always meet people that you connect with deeply. I look for, I'm a spiritual guy. I like spiritual connection. So it's not just, oh, okay, it's fun to talk to you. Like there's got to be depth in our relationship. And so, you know, that filters out a lot of people. That doesn't mean I don't like people. It means I don't feel deeply connected to everybody, right? So, um, for me, like this work, what it began to provide was to see that when people are trained in attunement, that space of being around somebody else is provided in abundance. Does that make sense? And so one of the reasons that we say, hey, don't just do the program, work with other practitioners, because you could take what we're teaching you. You could teach it to your children if you want to. You could teach it to your parents if you want to. You could like, we don't care. Like, please take this work out into the world. We would prefer that. We want this work in the world. We want people to know that you don't have to just sit in your mind having ideas and pondering about how to fix them. There is all this architecture in the human spiritual construct that allows you to have way more access than what you believe you currently have. Okay. With that said, in most family systems that I've met, most family groups that I've met, usually the person doing spiritual development is kind of on an island. How many of you guys are like the only like person pursuing personal development or spirituality in your life, right? So then you go talk to your parents, they look at you like, where did this alien land from, right? Or you go try to do it with a spouse and they don't have the same motivation or intention as you, and that's fine. It doesn't make them bad or wrong in any particular way. We all have our interests in life. They probably do other cool stuff. But the reality is, like, I'm not going to go, like, if I was playing music and I was a really good guitarist, I'm probably not going to go play with like another 5-year-old who's just like figuring out what a string is, right? It's not going to feel like a connected experience. And so we really recommend one of the reasons that we harp on working in the community, stuff like that, and why we've opened it up the way that we have is because what we're basically helping the people who are coming into this community are self-identifying as people who are committed to this level of work, who have this intention for healing. And I personally only want to work with people who have that level of intention, right? Who either match or exceed my level of commitment to my work. Those are the people I want to work with. Those are the teachers I work with, stuff like that. So what's really cool is you get this work, you're going to get this, let's call it technology, right? Spiritual technology. And then it's like, okay, what are you going to do with it now that you have it? Well, go work with other people who are aware of the spiritual technology. Sit together in these profound experiences. And the more you do that, the richer these experiences are going to get. It's probably going to start, and for some of you guys, they might still feel a little bit heady, like you're trying to think your way through this experience.
And that's
Eventually,
okay in the beginning too.
yeah, and that's totally fine. That's absolutely natural. Like we live in a super heady world that's trying to figure out everything, everything needs an explanation. But like at the end of the day, while the explanations will be like, oh, that's interesting, they don't really get you into depth in your experience. There's only one way to get depth in the experience, and that's just to keep coming back to the experience. I always say that mastery, and I mean in any area of life, is a subtle art. Do you guys know what I mean by that? Like a musician or a pro athlete are where they are because of their awareness of the subtle nature of what they're doing, right? A pro athlete knows if I move my hips a little bit that way, I'm going to hit the ball much harder. Your average person doesn't know that. They just swing, right? A musician knows, hey, if I push the string up a little bit or I do this, I'm going to get a different tonality or sound out of this instrument. It's going to deliver more emotion to the experience. I would have no idea about that. A professional swimmer probably knows like a nuance, right, of emotion and how they move through the water. I don't know. I look like a caveman when I'm swimming. It's just clutching to life, basically, trying to figure out how to get to the other side. It's not pretty, right? But like what I know subtlety in is awareness. And that's simply because I've come back to these practices over and over again. So the minis, as much as you're going to transform in the experience of being in a mini is going to transform. You're going to start noticing all sorts of little things. And if we just started laying them all out for you, we're going to have a laundry list here of 50 or 100 things, and we're going to confuse you. So the best thing to do is just show up and do it. So the first thing I would just say is do the work and see if it connects with you. See if it makes sense to you. Like, see if by going through, like, what we're displaying, what we're explaining about how trauma happens and how trauma is metabolized from the body, does that make logical sense to you? And then you got to ask yourself, does this work call to me? Because if it doesn't call to you, don't do it. That'd be stupid. Don't do anything that you don't want to do. That's dumb, right? But once you have that, don't sit on it. If you're like, okay, this is here, like strike the iron while it's hot. Use the motivation, whatever it is that had you click that button, that had you made that purchase, that had you come on this call today. You're showing us that you're motivated, right? Not everybody shows up to these calls. Not everybody connects with Elon and myself. Not everybody comes to live events. In fact, I would say a majority don't, right? So we're telling you right now, like sitting on that program and just doing self meditations all day long, while effective in some degree, you are minimizing dramatically the impact. Now, I want to also tell you that, and I say this every time, I will be the first to say that sitting with strangers that you've never met before in a process of healing is going to feel strange.
Edgy.
It's edgy, right? It feels weird. I want to, like, we all want to be around people we're comfortable around, even if sometimes we don't like them, we're comfortable with them, right? But like, so when we're asking you to sit with somebody who you've never sat with before, who might be on the other side of the world, it's going to bring some stuff up. And there's nothing wrong with you because it brings some stuff up. That's just being a discerning human being, right? And one of the skills that we get to learn through this, we actually just had a pretty high-end program. We have an L1, L2, and L3 program, and then we like to joke that we have an L4 program, but we don't talk about L4. And in L4, the teacher that Elon and I have been working with for close to a decade now is actually leading L4, and we spend a great deal of time on a like particular qualities of awareness. Okay. So like level 2, we set a foundation. Level 3, we work in the emergent phenomenon. And if you don't, I've never heard something like that, simply stating that reality is emerging, it's arising, right? Like how any of you guys able to think about where life comes from or where thoughts arise from. It's an emergent phenomenon, right? It arrives. Hey, Jack, did you want to ask something? Oh, you're raising your hand.
Just confirming an agreement.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you.
He was
So
just giving
yeah,
you one of
yeah.
these, like, yes, I'm with
I
you.
see. I couldn't see. I saw his hand like that. And so we spent a year on emergence because all of us are, I don't want to say dealing with, but experiencing the emergence of life, the emergence of thought, the emergence of emotion. And it's not to understand where it's emerging from. It's simply to understand that it's going to continue to emerge. This organic hologram mirror that we're all looking at, that is a life is arising inside of. A lot of us are suffering, like Elon said, world events, right? This woman is having an experience like she can't leave her country for fear of coming home, right? That's a real experience. This person, it's emerging within them. And so there's a suffering that happens about that. So where most people are working on is trying to change what's emerging in the mirror. Yes? The changing your action, changing your environment, right? These are all symptoms of trying to change what's in the mirror. I don't know about you, that mirror is pretty powerful. It doesn't change with a lot of ease. We try to force change, we try to pray to change, we try to, all this different stuff to change, but like what's arising, it's what's arising. And what's arising in your experience is often outside of the purview of your conscious mind. Why it's arising we don't understand because there's all this unconscious patterning and unconscious frequency that we're carrying around, and that's often what's driving what we're seeing in that mirror. So the first thing that we want to learn is how do I reduce the suffering of my experience of what's arising? How do I change my state, right? How do I be with the state that's arising? And then ironically, what happens as we bring more peace to the arising, the image in the mirror becomes more peaceful too. It works the opposite of what people think. People think I'll change the image in the mirror, then I'll feel more peaceful. Instead of cultivating more peace in the system, and then the image in the mirror changes to more peaceful. Does that make sense? Right? And so the last piece I said about the L4 is, and why I bring it full circle here, is because one of the main skills that we want to learn is discernment. Do you guys know what discernment is? Okay. It's like you being able to make choices that are good for you. This is for me, this is not for me. A lot of us have confusion about that. And so we're often making choices from and discerning things in our life from a place of like just not feeling safe, of feeling overwhelmed. How many of you guys just know that like you perpetually feel, even if it's just a hum that's kind of in the background, like not feeling safe, overwhelmed, anxious, overwhelmed, maybe even disconnected. Any of these connect with you guys? Just show of hands again. Yeah. And so when that's going on in the background, ultimately that's what's driving our choices too. Because I'm making a choice because I feel anxious. I'm making a choice because I feel overwhelmed. I'm making a choice because I feel disconnected. Now I believe that my choice is going to reduce that anxiety. I believe that that choice is going to reduce my overwhelm, but oftentimes it contributes to it. Can you guys get a sense of that? And so in the short term, sometimes it feels like okay, I'll make this choice, things will get better. But if you really track this in life, and we have with many people, and certainly I see it in my life over and over again, it's the short-term fix creates a long-term problem. It's a band-aid over something that's never going away. And look, your strategy might be avoidance. Your strategy might be to wallow in it, right? We all have our strategies for dealing with these kind of things. But at the end of the day, Elon and I found time and time and time and time and time again is that all these things, all this concern, all these worries that we're all walking around with are symptoms of trauma that happened long ago. Yeah. And the system, like our bodies, have this mechanism where it will loop on that trauma over and over again until it gets resolved, okay, in some particular way. So the way that we have found that resolution ultimately happens is not that anything goes away. Right? We're not here to make any sort of character. If you think you have some character flaw, I'm sorry to tell you, it's not going anywhere. If you're having some experience of life that you think that you can create a life that you're never going to have that experience again, whether it's pain, hurt, disappointment, or even love and bliss or whatever it is, it's not going to go away. It's not about that.
Are you feeling inspired by these podcasts? Is this approach striking a chord with you? Imagine taking this journey even further with personal coaching from Guy and I, right from your own home on Zoom. Join us at our next live event. They happen quarterly. It's an accessible, cost-effective way to dive deep into these transformative practices, not just theoretically, but experientially. Attendees often share that they've experienced unprecedented levels of peace, support, forgiveness, and awareness. Remember, healing isn't just a mental exercise. It must be felt and released through the body. So here's a special gift just for you, our valued listener. Visit intuitivemind.live and use the coupon code OLDSOUL to receive 25% off your ticket. The Intuitive Mind event is unlike any other. So impactful that many participants return multiple times, some as many as 10, 12, even 15 times. Plus, once you register, we'll immediately send you a recording of a previous event so that you can start practicing right away. Don't miss this opportunity. Go to intuitivemind.live, secure your spot for our next live event using the coupon code OLDSOUL, and start your transformative journey today. Now, back to the show.
Healing is not a journey of making parts of ourselves go away. Healing is really a journey about reconnecting with those parts, but receiving them through the eyes and the experience of one who's compassionate. And when you cultivate groundedness, when you cultivate safety, when you cultivate well-being, when you cultivate compassion in your body, then whatever is arising in your body gets met with those things. And de facto, like as a symptom of that, you begin to reduce your suffering or completely end your suffering. Doesn't mean that part of you went away. It simply means you now love that aspect of yourself. So just take a moment and feel into whatever is going on in your life right now that may be creating some discontent. And just take a moment to try to feel into, or not even try to, just feel into what is meeting that experience that's arising inside of you. Maybe it has a name, but it doesn't necessarily mean one. It's like, what's the feeling of what meets it? So for a lot of people, it's like maybe trying to push it away, or it's a turning away from. So see if you can get a sense of that. And so notice it's not necessarily the circumstance that's the issue. It's what is meeting the circumstance inside that's really creating the suffering. So also notice that this experience for you is probably not new. You've had this feeling before many times. Is that true? Just show of hands. You had this feeling many times before. So what that tells us is if you already had the experience or information inside of your body to meet that with compassion or to learn how to resolve that, you probably would have done it already. And if this experience is known to you and has been around since, if I probably asked you the age, you could probably tell me 3, 4, or 5 years old, something like that, right? If this experience is known to you, then this is why you want to begin sitting with other people, because in the process that we teach and the way that we hold awareness with another person, literally this is how the human body is built. Okay, and this is not just coming from me and Elon, this is now coming from neuroscience and ancient wisdom practices and a whole bunch of other places. This is being confirmed left, right, and center. Is that our bodies have the capacity to borrow somebody else's nervous system safety when our body's not feeling safe. Okay. Another way of saying that is that somebody else's safe signal, if you want to call it that, can be transmitted to our body and teach our body that safe signal. This should not be that big of a breakthrough thinking because you see it in a parent-child relationship all the time. Child gets dysregulated, child goes to the parent. If the parent has resource and is grounded, they hold the child, they're present with the child. The child can feel the mom or dad there present with them. The child comes out of dysregulation. Yes? And so what we're witnessing there is the normal, totally normal rupture repair cycle. of dysregulation, regulation, or said another way in a scientific term, of a parasympathetic nervous system response. I'm sorry, a sympathetic nervous system response to a parasympathetic nervous system response. All of life works this way. It comes in waves. So most people's idea of personal development or healing is like death. It's like no more waves, right? No more waves. It's the only thing I'll accept. Has to be as I want it, when I want it, how I want it. Otherwise, the ego loses its coconuts. And that's what we're all dealing with. We're all dealing with like a schizophrenic, psychopathic ego that wants its way all the time, or it's very dissatisfied. Yes? And the way out of that is not to control or manage this part of you because you will have an ego to the day that you die. I know, you know how I know that? You're human. And it comes with the territory. So it's not about overriding the ego or trying to negotiate with the ego. And for a lot of us who've spent a world in personal development, I'm sure many of you guys have. Elon and I were in that world for 15 years. We're highly, highly trained mindset people. And I could tell you all it ever gave me a capacity for was managing and coping with life better. But it didn't resolve, it didn't heal anything. And so our quest the last 9, 10 years have been really to figure out, okay, like what is this other branch of this quote awakening experience that we get to have? And that's where we started realizing there are two branches. There's waking up and there's growing up. These are two completely different branches. And a lot of you guys are very, very good on the growing up side. And what we're here to teach you is actually how the waking up side. And so the more you cultivate this connection with another person, the more safety and ground you will teach yourself, cultivate in your own system. And all we're saying here is these are the places where it was missed during your childhood, where somebody wasn't there. And even if they were there, they may not have been attuned properly, emotionally, energetically to you. And to a child, that creates a rupture. It feels like being dropped. Do you know what I mean by that? It's like mom and dad weren't there. Like you got dropped. Okay. The moment that happens, there is a part in our nervous system that gets contracted. It like gets frozen, literally, in time. And our body's natural state is to metabolize and move energy, flowing energy. So today, when the circumstance comes in your life that you don't enjoy, what's happening is the signal, right? That the energy of that is essentially hitting your body, and the body responds the way it always has, is by contracting, by basically defending itself, right? It's like, ooh, that thing is happening again. I got to protect myself, right?
And you're not doing this consciously at all. This is all happening in the background. You
And
you
you
have no say about this
and here's the
whatsoever.
thing, and this is the part that you can't make yourself wrong for or really feel any shame or guilt over. You can't control that. It is a knee-jerk response to not feeling safe in that moment. Now, not feeling safe doesn't have to be like a direct threat. It could be very subtle. Like when a spouse or a partner says something and you're like, and mentally you're like, that wasn't that big of a deal, but inside you're like, what the fuck? You get so upset, right? It's like like you almost can't make sense of one or the other. So when we have attunement from another person, the body can respond by basically like a sigh. It's like a parasympathetic response. That's what connection does. The body softens. We see another person is there. We feel another person's there. They're attuned to us. They're open. Our body begins to metabolize that energy. That contraction literally begins to unwind itself. And we can actually feel this in the body. You can actually train yourself to feel this in the body. How many of you guys have felt like when you're in a mini, how like the energy begins to flow down and through your legs? Or or heat in the nervous system? Yeah, just for the new guys, just look around. Can you guys raise your hands again? Very common. Very common. Like you start feeling energy moving down your legs. Sometimes the even the stomach is like burbling, like "Rrr." How many of you guys have had the stomach burbles when you're sitting with people? And you're like, did I eat mushrooms today? No, that's healing. It's funny, like it took me years to identify these very subtle things that our body does when it's feeling safe, because it literally is like digestion, right? It's a metabolic response to feeling safe. And so when you begin to identify even those sensations, these very subtle sensations in the body, like today, I know, like I go work with this amazing somatic practitioner, every single time I'm on that table. That's how my body responds. I'm getting warm, energy starts flowing down my legs. I get the burbles on my stomach. I'm like, I know this is working because of how my body is responding to the work. So when I first went to go see him, this guy Kyle, he's absolutely incredible. I wish everyone had a Kyle. Um, and I was like, oh, I knew from the first set, I'm like, this is going to work immediately because of what I was sensing in my body that I had been already doing for 5, 6 years of work in my life. And I knew that when my body feels safe, that's how it responds. And the moment he did work on me, I was like, ooh, this is awesome. It's going to work, right? So this is why we want to do that because it's you're using somebody else's safety in that moment to entrain your body how to feel safe when it normally wouldn't. Now, there are so many layers here, right? You got like, I still fall into this trap today. It's like I have this issue in my mind. I think, oh, it's connected to this. If I just take care of that, there's no more issue anymore. But it's not connected to that. Everything is system wide. Everything is wired in so many nuanced and subtle ways. And so instead of trying to work on like the one, two, three big problems that you have in your life, let it all go. How long have you been doing that shit for? How is that going? Fucking exhausting. It's pervasive. I mean, I'm exhausted by myself. I'm genuinely exhausted by how hard I work on trying to make myself feel better, right? It's ridiculous. And instead of trying to focus on like these problems that you think that you have, just work on cultivating more ground, more safety, more well-being. And I promise you, guaranteed, those things start taking care of itself. In fact, the less you focus on it, the faster they will start taking care of themselves, right? Well-being is a symptom of feeling safe and connected. The worst violators in our society, aggressors, violence, call it whatever you will, are the ones who are by far the most disconnected. I don't think there's been a school shooting in America where the guy comes out and is like, yeah, I had lots of friends. Like just a community of people around me that loved me, but today I decided a rifle would be a good idea instead. Like that's not how it works, right? It's not how it works. People who are connected thrive. And I was watching a TED Talk. I don't remember if I shared this last time, but I may have. But I want to share it again because it was so profound. And there's a gentleman that gave the TED Talk who is part of the longest running what's that called?
Study?
Yeah, study on planet Earth. It's a Harvard-run study, and he's the fourth director of a study that's been going on for 75 years. 75 years, longest running study on planet Earth. And what they started doing was following 760 men, something like that, 75 years ago. 60 of them are still alive. Okay. And every single year, they don't just ask them questions, they come get blood work, panels, like the whole shebang. Now their wives are included and their children are starting to be included in this study as well. So they want to keep the study going for a long time. But at some point, they had the idea of trying to figure out if they could predict when all these men were 40 who was going to live the longest, like through the models that they had, if the computer and the models could essentially predict who was going to live the longest life. Okay. And in that study, when they started doing that, they found a major commonality between everybody that has continues to live their longest lives. Anybody want to just, even if it's in your own space, just venture a guess what that is? What was the number one predictor of a long life? I'll give you guys a minute just to think about that. Yeah, so people are writing low stress, community, purpose, community, connection. Yeah, and all those are great answers, and they're certainly part of it. But at the end of the day, it ended up that it was safe attachment with their partner. Okay. So not longevity with a partner. Like people can be married for a long time and not have safe attachment. Okay. You can be married for a very long time and not feel safe at all. It's not the same. And if you don't know what attachment is, attachment is a it's like a word that psychology came up with in the last like 10, 20 years to navigate how it is that human beings connect. And so to children, right, the moment we come into this world, we need safe attachment. And one of the things that I just learned this too, it's like one of the things that adults don't do well with children is, when children press back and it can get challenging at home, a lot of times the parent will threaten the child in some way, take something away, whatever it might be, and the essentially the child is showing their authentic expression in that moment, and the parent says, I don't like this expression, you need to change your expression or subdue that expression, and then they say whatever they say, right? And it's kind of like it could be threatening or whatever, and the child 100 times out of 100 will choose attachment, safe attachment over authenticity, because attachment is primary to their survival and authenticity is not. And so over the years, if you have found yourself feeling less and less like yourself, this is a contributing factor of how this happens. We choose a safe we choose attachment with our caregiver at any cost because it means our survival, and then we lose our authenticity in the process because we don't know how to be with each other, right? Like we all struggle. There's parts that your children exude or your partner exudes. We can't be with that part. Is the issue is the issue their part, or is the issue that you don't know how to be with that part because something inside of you gets triggered? And then we go, you change it. You change how you're contributing, making me feel bad. But it's just a part in your system that just needs love and care. It needs safety. It needs safe attachment. And that's what this process is all about. It's re-entraining the body. You will see that so many concerns and things that you think are going on relationally in your primary relationships, in your financial life, with your physical health, emotional well-being, mental well-being, all come back to these little parts that are just really not getting connection. And so forget on just, if you think about this work, like I'm here and I want to get over there, you're going to drive yourself crazy. When you make anything performance-based, you drive yourself crazy. Okay? There is no beginning and there is no end here. Don't do this like I'm at the starting blocks and I have to get to the end. There's no end. There's no end in sight. And there's also nowhere you began either. That's just a fallacy of the mind. Right? If you do these things that are biologically coherent, energetically coherent, spiritually coherent, there is only one way it goes. Your experience of life will get better. Your experience of yourself will get better. People who've been doing this work, can you attest that that's true? Just show hands. Yeah. It's an incremental change, moment by moment, day by day. And this is why we tell you, don't wait till you're in the funk. Don't wait till it feels broken. Don't wait. Just begin with this proven scientific spiritual method of when you sit with people in the state of awareness that we're teaching you, you are going to retrain your nervous system to feel safe, grounded, experience well-being, and safe attachment. You're essentially rewiring the foundation from which you experience life from. And so there's nothing that cannot be impacted by that. And that means you don't have to think about an area of life that you want to transform. That's how, for 15 years, when Elon and I did transformational work, they're like, what do you want to work on today? I was like, well, that thing with dad sucks. Let's do that. Or like the thing with money sucks. Let's do that. And it's like, again, was it dysfunctional? Absolutely not. It taught me so much. But I'm a person, Elon's a person too. And if you're, like usually it depends with how the child experiences life. Some children have a lot of willpower. Some children have very little willpower. If you're a person with a lot of willpower, you will find ways to try to manipulate your reality left, right, and center. You'll try to manipulate your mind. You'll try to manipulate reality. You'll try to manipulate your states. And if you don't have willpower, you're probably just going to feel kind of lazy about it. Right? It's not your fault one way or the other. It was a survival mechanism. So my point is that like it doesn't matter where you are on the spectrum of being a human being. There is nobody who doesn't benefit from that. There's nobody who's going to not benefit from cultivating more safety in their nervous system. No way. You're going to feel more received on this planet. You're going to feel more received in your relationships, and you're going to be able to make choices from a place when your mind is not hijacked. Right? Elon mentioned that woman earlier. I'm not making her wrong. I'm just saying, like, when a person's deciding not to do something that they want to do, that mind has been hijacked. She is no longer a sovereign individual over her own body, over her own rights, right? And there are certainly things in this world, I'm not saying that there aren't, that can impact us in those ways. But nonetheless, is there anything else you want to add to this, bro?
Nope.
Okay. How many of you guys are just you get what I'm saying here? Is there any questions about anything I shared here today? Anybody have anything they want to bring through? Any insights, any questions? Got like another 10 minutes or so. Anybody want to share an experience that they've had this week? One way or another? Yeah, Jack, please.
So I've been pretty much on cloud nine for like the first 2.5 months back in, and tried to force an outcome. So that wasn't working real well. And actually, Ruth in a mini said, something's up for you. I'm like, you're right. And then I got clear. So that was like Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got clear again, and saw how I had created that in my system, the
Mm-hmm.
thinking that I was doing that was creating that. And it was, okay, I'm not sure what to make of that, but I'm just being with it. And then yesterday, after I'd gotten clear and done a couple of minis, I get a text from a client, and neurologically atypical, non-starter, failure to launch sort of situation.
Mm.
And at my behest, he started teaching swimming lessons and taking payment for it. He filled up with clients because he told the girls that he was coaching. And then he texts me, a mother of one of the two brothers that he had been teaching to swim, a 4-year-old. You saved my son's life. He floated
Mm-hmm.
on his own after falling into the deep pool.
Oof.
Wow.
And I was able to swim to him in plenty of time. I want to finish the unused sessions as soon as possible.
Mm. Beautiful.
Right? I felt so proud of him. I just couldn't not share it with people that I knew.
Wow.
So good.
Not because of me, because of him, because he got this win. He saw through the illusion of his own thinking and did something, and people responded because he's a loving being. It was so awesome. So, obviously,
I could feel you, Jack.
little kvetch.
Yeah,
Anyway,
nice.
thanks so much.
rightfully so. So there's so many beautiful things that just happened there. So first of all, thank you for sharing that. And I can really feel you. And I mean, amazing. You earned your angel wings. A life was potentially saved because of what you're doing in the world. The other thing I noticed is the moment you started talking, Ruth had the biggest smile on her face ever, like she just watched her child win the Super Bowl. So, it's like this is what I love, right? Because
Community.
yeah, it's like there's a type of intimacy here in the way that we share space with each other that is just it's a rare thing in the world. And to me, that's another really beautiful benefit of doing this work. It's like it just develops intimacy in a deeper way. And it's not because I don't know about you guys, like I don't like being psychologically processed. I just don't. It's really, really hard to maintain openness in mindset because like just I'll call myself I'm a stubborn fuck. Like when I have an idea in my head, I'm a righteous asshole. That it's like it just makes sense from my purview. And and if I'm not open and grounded at that point in time to have a discussion about that, whether it's my wife or anybody else, it's like I don't give up very easy, right? And like most of our world is hell-bent on that. I have 23 years of training and I still watch myself do that. I'm like, bro, really? Come on. I'm like, what's this hill you're dying on over here? This is ridiculous, right? But the moment I drop in, whether it's with my wife or anybody else, like that all goes out the window and I don't care about those things. What I deeply care about is the connection with my wife. And when that connection is reestablished, we get to have a really beautiful conversation and suddenly things start making sense again and yada 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 and so forth. Like that's available to everybody all the time. I don't want to be processed. I don't want you to sit here and try to figure out why my mind is doing this crazy shit that my mind is doing. It's just doing it. I can't help it. But what I do want to feel is I want to feel you. I want to feel you here with me. I want to know that I'm not alone. I want to know that it's safe to fall apart sometimes, or it's safe to cry sometimes, or even safe to like talk about my wins sometimes, right? And like actually feel received in those things. It's a different life. You know, I have been struggling this morning. I got hooked on something this morning. I asked Elon, we haven't gotten to do it yet, but like I said, hey, can you sit with me before this call? He happened to have another call, but like I missed it. He made space for me to sit with me this morning, like 10 minutes before this call. And like that's the best, you know, like I love that. I love having that when I'm in something, I'm not like this is my burden to carry. And I lived a life of 35 to 37 years where that was the only way that I looked at things.
And I would just say that, like, because guy, you were talking about like us being stubborn, even with all the training that we had before, the reframe NLP type work, um, if you were in something, we could sit, but then we would sit and it's like you're telling me the story and I'm kind of like giving you the distinctions and we're going back and forth, but it was still so through the mind that it was difficult to support each other because how many of you guys know, like once you're locked into something, like an idea, even if someone's like, "Hey, by the way, that's just the story you made up. Like, why don't we reframe it?" You're like, "It's not my fucking story. Like, this is how it is, right?" So there's like a little bit of that stubbornness that comes through. Whereas now we're at this place where it's so easy to support each other because all it is just holding space for that being to have their perfect experience. And I don't need to process what he's doing or experiencing or justifying his story or having him shift into a different one. It doesn't matter because everything gets to be accepted and everything gets to be shown love and everything gets to show compassion. And that's what we've all been missing. Every single one of us. Like when your rage is just as accepted, geez, just as accepted as your love or joy or bliss, now you're really working through something.
Yeah.
And that's
My
the
pain,
beauty.
sorry, my pain is not for my circumstance. My pain is my inability to accept what's happening right now. It's an inability to surrender into what's happening right now. And Elon started the conversation with surrender, and for a lot of us that feels like I'm giving up something. And so we don't, but it doesn't mean that at all. And it literally means like it's like a righteous compassion with the experience that you're having. Now, if you can't feel that compassion towards yourself, that's why you need another. An objective witness can easily feel compassion towards you in areas that you simply cannot. And it's not because you can't or have the capacity to. That's just where the trauma is. That's how you learned. It's like I don't get love when I fill in the blank. I don't love myself when fill in the blank, right? That's what we learned. That's what we learned at home. Most of us learned that love was contingent on performance. True or not true, right? It was conditional based on performance. Get good grades, follow the rules, STFU, do what I tell you, yada yada yada, right? Like that's how it's been for a really, really, really long time. There was not a lot of spaciousness in our society for kids to be other than what the design was supposed to be. And I do think a lot of the ways that more traditional mindset people today look at entitled kids is simply jealousy that we didn't have the space to be as we wanted to be, right? Like we want like every generation wanted to create a better life for their children to have more ease. Now these kids have a lot more space to express, to feel, and don't get me wrong, there's so many. things going on in the world and social media influence and technological influences. And like, we don't know what AI is going to do psychologically to us. Like, there's a lot, there's a lot going on. Nonetheless, like, when things transform, we're in an experimental phase. And when we're in an experimental phase, you try a lot of stuff that doesn't work before you find stuff that works. I could tell you, as a business owner that's been in business for 15 years, Elon and I try a lot of stuff that does not work. That's why we're annoying you with 7,000 emails and text messages about the event this weekend, because the only thing that sort of, kind of, almost, maybe once in a while works is sending like 7,000 emails. Because if you send like three, everyone's like, I didn't see it. You got a lot going on. We get it. Like, your mind is now like, oh, my inbox is the most important thing. Satori Prime, gotta read it. Oh, riveting email from these guys again. It's not that, right? Like, we get it. So, you know, none of this is state of the art in terms of like it's gonna rock your world. It's repetition, it's reentrainment. But I'm telling you right now, spiritually and biologically, this is how, at least in this portion of our small little universe, this is how human beings are designed. We're designed for socializing, we're designed for connection. And so if that's the design, healing works inside of that design. And if you isolate yourself and self-flagellate yourself, meaning like hate yourself, shame yourself, guilt yourself, thinking like this is going to work and I'm going to become the person that I want to become, you ain't doing that. All you're doing is traumatizing yourself more, being on that island all by yourself, thinking that you'll reveal yourself when you have it all figured out. You won't. And I think what I hope Elon and I do well is to show you, like, we're not here to give you the big reveal. We're still working on it as much as anybody else. Having said that, I want to say that our lives have changed dramatically in the last 8 or 9 years. And if you don't believe us, go watch training Elon and I used to do 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. These numbers keep going up now because it's been a while. Like watch trainings that we used to do a while ago, and you're going to be like, these are not the same two men that I heard speaking today. And it is the nature of this work. So like, I love these conversations because I get to remind myself of the truths that I already know, which is life's going to keep happening. It's going to keep teaching. Your relationships are going to keep happening. They're going to keep teaching you. And what I think we all really care about is our internal experience, because it really is the driving force behind how you feel about everything in your life. You go on those vacations because of how it makes you feel inside. You buy that car because of how it makes you feel inside. You buy that dress or wear that makeup or go to the gym because of how it makes you feel inside, right? So our primary concern is our inner world. And then we have 99.999% of society looking outside of themselves to try to make themselves happy in some way. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. So point the focus back inside. Use the things that we know that work. And you're going to start seeing in the coming days or coming weeks, if you haven't tried this before, you're going to be like, holy shit, I had no idea that I can get through that thing this quickly. And that window of how you move through stuff will just happen faster and faster, because as the system softens and opens, we're essentially saying you can metabolize more energy. So when something hits the system and you contract, the next response won't be like, oh shit. It'll be like, oh, remember to soften again. And the energy starts flowing through the system again. And you'll start seeing that the things that psychologically concern you very quickly go away when the contraction has metabolized. The circumstance hasn't changed. You just don't give a shit anymore. And it's not like I don't give a shit that there are things going on in the world. It's just like, oh, that actually doesn't bother my system. And that's even better, because if you do want to problem solve in the world or your life, trust me, when you're not so strung up on it is when you can think clearly, your heart can be involved, and you can actually discern what would be the best way to go about it in a way that really, really works for you. And so the last piece I'll just kind of close here with, and our teacher taught us this a long, long time ago, but it's something that I find continuously true, is that you can take 1,000 actions from that dysregulation. Very little is going to change in your life. Very little, if anything at all. Or you could take one action from alignment and watch as your world changes very dramatically and very quickly. Action has energy. It's not just physicality. Everything is connected, right? Emotions, energy, mind, it's all connected. There's no such thing as mind over matter when you're not connected to your emotional and energetic state. So when you're grounded, your heart and your mind are much more in alignment. It's much more easy to listen to God or spirit or intuition or whatever it is that you call it in your tradition and in your philosophy. Whatever that is, does not talk when we're completely contracted and dysregulated. We feel very disconnected from that. So it's a really beautiful opportunity to get in alignment and begin to operate your actions, your relationships, and everything else from that place. All right? Please, please, please. It's only 90 minutes of your life. You can watch a dumb Netflix show that you're going to complain about with your friends, or you can go do something that's going to change your life. Okay? And then go sit with people. Do the work and change your life. We guarantee it. Love you all. Thank you for your time and attention today.
Thank you, dear one, for choosing to share a bit of your day with us. We value you greatly. And as a way to give back and help you to deepen these practices, we want to invite you to join our incredible community on Facebook. You can do so easily by going to joinoldsouls.com and ask for an invite. This is our private community where old souls and seekers are able to grow and share their journey with others. We hold exclusive weekly live streams, we answer your personal questions, and offer valuable insights that we won't be able to share here on the podcast. So again, just head to joinoldsouls.com and grab your invite today. And as always, if you enjoy this podcast, please head to iTunes and leave us a review. It's the only way other people can find this show. So if it's making a difference in your life, please share the love. Until we meet again, have an amazing week, dear one.